Super Soul Sisters, and we're yet again here for an amazing episode. My name is Rowena Kajumba, and we're going to have a lovely story for you, I tell you. And with me is Ritah Asiimwe, who's going to tell us a whole lot more. She's a sports lady, athlete, of course, and a qualified Paralympics. And of course, she's been in one of these, a couple of them, still has many in November. And she's going to tell us really her life story to inspire us. Ritah Asiimwe, you're very welcome. I'm so excited to see you. The last time I saw you, you had not yet, gotten into
sports and all that.
Sport. Well, I knew you were a sports lady in the past, but not like taking it on as a, yes. Yeah. So you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, you're our Super Soul Sister today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So quickly, as we rush into this story, Rita, we want to understand the person watching out there. Who is Ritah Asiimwe? Start us off from maybe where you come from, who your parents are, how you grew up, really.
That long journey.
Yeah.
Just already announced, Ritah Asiimwe is my name.
Yes.
Way back from the Lukunjiri and then Shema.
Okay.
My dad comes from Shema. My mom is from Lukunjiri. My small life was in Lukunjiri. Then I transited to Shema, and then, but the biggest life was the life I remember is practically in the central, because that's where I studied, grew up, and we've lived, and then up to now, that's where my family is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when were you born, and to who?
I'm a child of Mr. and Mrs. Semanda Israel.
Okay.
And that was the year 1986. And I grew up and joined school like any other kids, but of course not pre-primary. Did things with us. We would wait until you join primary. I don't know what year.
So I saw some of your photos. You seem like a big family, eh?
We actually many. Yeah, we are many. I wouldn't want to say we are a family of particularly this, because according to African families, we are all kids, and we are all, whether you're cousins or something, but we are quite a number of children from my dad. And you may never know whether we are stepsisters or cousins.
You're
or
really
some.
close.
We are. But from my mom, we are practically 5, my mom and my dad. And then my other siblings, though I never wanted to, partition. I wouldn't want to partition. Okay. I want to take them as a whole family, because we want that closeness. Like, we don't want to feel like you're my step and then you're my cousin. No, we are all brothers and sisters.
That is a good thing, because sometimes that doesn't often happen, eh?
Yeah,
yes.
It breaks a lot of.
So how did you grow up? What's your childhood like?
Growing up was quite tough. They look like, I don't know. But growing up was quite tough because my family didn't have a lot of money. They actually struggled through. They struggled a lot. My primary was a struggle because that's why I would move from places to places until we settled in Masaka, where my mom got a job and my dad. And then I joined a primary school called the St. Bruno, Serunkoma. It's in Masaka for my primary one. I think that was around 1992. That was my whole school, like primary.
To P7, yes.
To P7. And then I also joined Christ the King for O-level, and still joined Christ the King Kalisizo, Bulinda, in Rakai for A-level. So I never had that luxury of change schools.
Maybe you were a disciplined student, who knows?
If you ask my mom if I was disciplined, I think she would disrupt me. But yes, at school I was, though like you always have your messes somewhere and all that, but at least I never got the things of like you're being expelled or you're being suspended for this or something, because I always, my mom is a tough lady, not was, is a tough lady. So
she sounds very simple, eh?
Yeah, when you look at her, she's this simple banana, ripe banana, like you step on and it crashes. But no,
she does not take.
She doesn't take enough an answer or something unserious. So I had to make sure I stay in my lane no matter what I did, because back home was not easy.
Okay.
You would cane that slipper umoja.
Hey, that one is for
Umoja was half
every Women's Day. You see people
exactly.
put it.
So, and I was I'm one kid or one person who hates being caned or being scrolled or something, being blamed for something. So I always made sure at least I'm in my lane. However, you can't avoid it as an African child, as a child who has siblings, who has friends, who is in a community that is broad. No, you wouldn't avoid it, but as a very crazy kid, I would say. Because I remember my mom telling me, I'm going to take you to camping, and I was like, what? So that I can't forget.
Yes.
I think I was around P3 or P.
So you'd come back home very dirty, still wanting to play.
Actually, I don't know, I would want to remember very well whether I would come back a very dirty kid, but I remember is I would do play from morning to sunset. So the rest of being clean. So I think that's why my mom got a discipline of having us like 4 uniforms a week. Like at least
so that
there's no excuse of I didn't wear a uniform or didn't have stockings because they were dirty. We'd make sure our uniforms are clean, and they would make sure we wash them ourselves.
Okay.
You get it? So
now secondary school, what was your major focus here?
Secondary school, when I joined secondary school, I think I had actually brain-wise matured because of the situations at home and all that. Being that the family was not, good. I didn't like the whole situation. I always looked at other kids and I'm like, I want to be like that kid. They were kids from posh families, and you look at the way they drop them at school and all that. But never, you do not go back and rub it into your parents. But in my heart, I would be like, I want to be better than this. So I joined secondary school, and I'm like, okay, here we get the rules. By then, it was Madame Izizinga Rose. She's a no-nonsense lady. English, straight talking, straight walking. Everything had to be perfect.
Perfect, yes.
And then we're like, okay. So I joined. I was like, cool. It's none of my problem. I joined. I remember students joined the senior one and asked me whether I was a repeater. And then me, I was like, does anyone repeat senior one? I think I was that sharp, and I never wanted anything to stop my way. So I was like, no, you don't. I'm not a repeater. I'm just a student. Like, I joined just like you. So. I don't know why they had to ask all those questions, but they did ask me, and I can't forget that question because I remember it was my day
so you were too sharp, eh?
I think so. Maybe I was too sharp for them. But I remember we are all from the same primary schools, and then we are still that. So senior one, we go. I joined Rotary in senior one. I joined drama club. I joined all those activities, everything. Call it that, because the only thing I never wanted was going to the gardens.
Like most people. So you wanted to join all the clubs, so you could be more active, get to know more people.
I never want to see my life boring and all that. So I feel like I always feel like there's something I can do. I never feel like there's nothing I can't do. I always felt like I have the energy to do each and everything that was around me. So I joined all these clubs, and then I become a prefect, assistant prefect for sports from that class. And then I become a class monitor. But remember, I think I'm the loudest at school.
But you're the monitor, eh?
Yeah. And I think teachers were my friends. I thank God for that favor. However crazy I was, but teachers used to always put me right, because I would always make sure, however I do anything, there are things I don't have to do, things to do with crossing the school rules, regulations. No. You can do anything as a child, but I never wanted, because there are things I couldn't explain to my mom. Why am I being expelled?
Yes.
Why do I have to come back for a week? I come to school with a parent? No, because I don't think my mom would take that in. So I made sure I don't go into lines that I'm not supposed to. Though at that age, you're not really sure of what you're chasing. However, you're doing it, but you don't know what you're chasing. You're in school to read, pass exams,
Yes.
And that's
paid
it.
School fees, you have to study.
Exactly. But also in my secondary, school fees was kind of, not easy, because having a big family, my mom wasn't earning a lot, my dad wasn't earning a lot. Though they gave us that,
they make sure,
they make sure we had the special needs, so that you do never lack that something that is special, a requirement to you. So I had to make sure still I kept me in my lane still. But other than that, school was just as normal as any other.
So you mentioned something, sports prefect. So you are in your childhood.
Oh yeah,
this was something that
I joined sports because co-culture has been into me because when I was in primary, actually, I joined MDD. I would run for the school in my P3. At least that I can't forget. In my P3, I would run for my school. I'd run, those activities like you go Sunday. What are they called? Speech days?
Speech days.
Yeah,
yes.
you lead songs on speech days, whether you know how to sing or not, but you want to be the one leading. You want to be part of the dancing, because I remember I joined cultural dances in my P3. And the brother to Aloysius Matov, what's his name? Chibi Pade was a coach. He coached me from the P3 actually to HSC. Co-cultural activities has been part of me, though I would also balance with school.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to pass. You have to. I'm not a good reader. I will not say I'm a bookworm. No. I just had to make sure I pass.
Yes. So since you said you're not a good reader, what subjects were you leaned into?
English.
But you're not a good reader. Anyway, moving forward.
As good at English and then maybe, but the rest is, I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know.
But so now you leave secondary school, you go to university, yes?
Actually, before we left secondary school, in my senior 5, because I finished O-level in 2003, and then 2004, that's senior 5, 205, that was supposed to be my senior 6, and that's when the tragedy happened in 205. It was, I was supposed to be joining, it was January 4th of 25, when I'm supposed to join my senior 6, that I lost my hand and then everything turned around.
Yes, if you don't mind sharing us that.
It was, we had gone to the village in Konjiri for a visit. There was a Christmas party, then Kuchala for my uncle, Kohinja, Suji. Like everyone in the village, we were there. Yeah, we were in the village having fun. The truth is, I would hop around with boys because I love company of boys. I love company of boys.
You're not the type to be seen around hanging with girls? Or?
No, I fail to have girls friends. I don't know. And it has always been a problem with my mom, even when I was in...
Because as a parent,
yeah,
my daughter is always
she'd always ask me, what do you be doing with men and boys? And I'm like, they're my friends. And then I remember she even one day sat me down and brought a dictionary to describe the word boyfriend. And then in my head I was like, are you crazy? I mean, they're just my friends. But it's hard to describe,
Yes,
I think it was her time for her. She felt like she needed to take me through.
No, as a parent,
yeah,
she was not strong.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
So she does all her parenting and all that, but in my head I'm like, no, you just don't understand me.
Yeah.
But I keep quiet because the truth is, I remember she scolded me so much, but I wouldn't. It would take me time to reply.
You never listened, did you?
No, I listened, but my mind would take me otherwise.
Okay.
My soul and my mind were totally different things from the body here. So
yes.
So that's when in that time of Christmas, after New Year.
Senior 5 holiday, yes?
Yeah, senior 5 holiday, we are supposed to come back. Actually, that day, we are supposed to have taken a bus back with my sisters. And it is me who was responsible for bringing them back. So that day, buses were nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
So we wait for like we waited for buses until I think midday. We gave up. My grandma was like, you guys can still stay. We'll wake up in early morning and we'll wait for another bus. So in me, I'm like, okay, since I'm not going, let me go check on my godmother. Then when I reached my godmother's place, I think they could be my sisters or something like that. They were like, Rita, push me here, push me there. Then we checked almost on everyone in the village. That day, I spent the whole day roaming around. In the evening, I come back and I couldn't find a taxi. So on my way, I'm like, let me go and check on my cousin brother. They were just nearby. So I go. That we move and towards my home, like the perimeter walls. One guy is standing at the beginning of this perimeter wall and the other is the other side, and this one is trying to jump over, go in. Then I'm like, you know what? I think these guys want to break in. We stopped a bit. I don't know why we couldn't even make any alarm.
You were
I
in
don't know.
shock, maybe. This
I
is
don't
the first time
know.
you've seen anything
I
like
think
that.
I just blacked out somehow. And then I think I turn, my brother, I'm like, you know what, we turn and go. I'm going. But I think we did not turn immediately. We stood. And then they got to see us. Then, you know, like you give a step back, 2, 3 steps, you find them ahead of you. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had already engulfed on us. They were already behind us. I don't know how, but
Like, I think when they saw you, they decided to...
I think they realized we had seen them and probably would mention their names out. But practical, I didn't know any of them because I was just a visitor around. So they chased after me instead of.
So where's your
jumping
brother
over.
here? Where's your cousin?
The truth is, I thought by the time I woke up, I thought he was dead as well.
Oh dear.
Because that very moment, they gave him a very deep slap with a machete. So me, I thought he was dead. But with all the panic and all that, because we separated. You know, like when you're running, and then I tripped, my hand left his hand. So me, I stayed behind, but I thought wherever he is, probably he's dead. Okay. And then I stayed with these 2 guys. So when I stayed with these 2 guys, in them they're like, we are taking to the district. They acted as security guys.
Oh.
That's funny. They acted as security guys, and in my head I'm like, no, these guys were just trying to break in. And now they're telling me they're security guys because by then I was alone. So I'm like, no, I don't answer anything. In my head I'm like, Rita, these guys, they're either trying to drag you somewhere they can kill you without anyone noticing. But I can't even make any alarm. That's the funny bit of, I don't know, when I think when I get too much scared, I never say anything. So I'm like, I try to drag them around, delay them a bit. In the meantime, one is standing in front of me and the other one is behind me. And then I'm like, okay, now the guy in front of me has the machete, and I'm like, by the time this guy, we are holding the machete together. I'm like,
so you're fighting?
Yeah. And they are asking me whether I know them, and I'm like, no. I thought they were going to ask whether I have money on me or something, or phone. They didn't ask anything. Then the only thing they ask me is, do you know us? And I'm like, no, I don't know you guys, because I knew. When I looked at one of them, I actually knew one of them. He was actually a close guy, but I never wanted to disclose because he was always close to my grandma, and you know that village wrangle. I never wanted to cause that village wrangle, and I told him I don't know you. And actually, even people at home, I told them I don't know the guy because I knew my grandma would get scared or something. But
or put her in danger.
Yeah, or put her in danger, which I didn't want. So, but in me, I'm like, okay, so you guys are here and you've left the other guys, so which is okay. So me in my head, I'm like, by the time we drop this machete, I'm calculating my moves. I'm like, I'm gonna split to this side because one was here and another, and I'm like, I'm gonna split. By the time you get me, probably I would be far, or someone would have saved. I think that was in the plan. God had already
a different plan.
It was a different plan, or whatever happened, I don't know. So we hold. It actually cut this thumb. I have it's kind of damaged all around.
I see that. And
actually, when I'm holding a racket, very few people know, but it doesn't grip so well, and this finger doesn't grip so well. But you can't know unless you're so close and know what exactly. So we haggle and haggle. It drops, but when it dropped, I stepped it. So the guy is like, "Remove your foot," and I'm like, "No." I'm still calculating where it is. So when he said remove it, the behind guy realized I think I might delay their move. He raised the hammer to hit my ankles. So that's when I lifted the foot off before. So when I did this, I remembered I had to run. I think in the meantime, they were faster than me. The rest, I woke up and I wanted to move away. I don't know how much time I spent on the ground. I wanted to move and go. That's when I realized my hand was loose. And, you know, calmly, I removed the small sweater, you know, those small sweaters we normally wear.
Yeah.
I wrapped it and then walked to someone's shop. There were shops around. I knocked, you know, people in the village sleep by 6:30, they already
Yes,
closed.
this is really early, yes.
So I knocked, I don't know, I don't even remember, I think, but the people that told me it was around 8 then. So I knock, they open, I ask for a glass of water, they offer me a glass of water. Then they asked me where I come from. I told them their names to my grandma and everything, and then I blacked out.
Oh dear.
The rest, I remember I had my grandma approach. I had her voice, but I couldn't see her. And then they told me my mom came the next day around 5. But I also had her voice because I remember her saying, "Let's pray." And that was the last word I had and the only word I had from her. The rest, I don't know what was happening, whether I was still at the site where the incident had happened or I was in hospital, I don't know. So after some time, when she arrived, they take me to Mulago, from Nyachibale Hospital to Mulago. And then, but the amputation was done in Nyachibale. And then the next day when I reached Mulago, that's when they do the rest of the stuff and all that. And then they told me, I told them if I spent some hours and minus some things, then maybe I would pass on. If I didn't, maybe a lot of, you know, doctor language. But then, fortunately, I think after 4 days, I get back to a little visual and then understanding who's around. I would start waking up, and then they actually thought I was dead at a point. Maybe I was about to die. You know, my body changed.
The uncertainty.
They entirely changed. Like, I don't know, my mom has an album where she took all those photos when I was in hospital. But I never want to see it.
To see them.
Yeah, I never want to see them because, I mean, they look so horrible, you know. So that was the entire thing of hospital. So after 3 weeks, I recover. And then get to outdoor patient. Then I'm like, I want to go back to school. They're like, no, you can't, you're still weak, blah, blah, blah.
So for you, you're like, you know what, life has to move.
Yeah, when I woke up, I was like, oh, I'm still alive.
Yes, thank God.
I have to move on. I have to finish school. I have to go, because if I don't finish school, I will not get a job. I wanted to finish university. I wanted everything in my head. But I couldn't tell anyone. But I was like, no, I need to get out of this place. So I would stand slowly, go to the bathroom, teach myself how to bathe. I would stand slowly, go take a small walk. Though there are times I would collapse and they bring me back, blacked out. I don't know, not knowing what exactly had gone on or something. But they really took good care of me. And I thank that from the bottom of my heart, my relatives, my mom and everything. They really cared for me. Maybe if I didn't get that care, I would not survive. They really took in a lot for me. They really put aside a lot for me. So that is when, in February, I stay home. In March, I had to go to school.
The transitioning process, how did that go for you? Because most people, you know, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of how do I go about this? How are people?
The
all
anger.
Of, yes.
The transition has never been easy for anything in life. But because I already had a target in my mind, and because I wanted no one to ever undermine me for anything or overlooked for anything or seen as some useless person, or, you know, because, you know, growing up in a society where everyone is hustling to make life out of themselves, and then people feeling so hectic, taking care of someone or something. You see someone gets sick and just 1 week someone is already fed up of, you know, and then there's this life of where you have to become a beggar. I was like, no, God, I am not going into that life. So I need to do this and finish it and get a better life. Because I don't want to find my sisters having a hard time. I hear today you're being taken care of this, and then they have to sit and discuss as a family who takes care of this over this.
And then you feel like,
and then you get that. So I never, in my mind, never wanted to see that happen to me. That is one thing that really kept me positive.
Did you see any change in attitudes?
Yeah,
or people?
I did. Personally, I also had an attitude because I was growing anger, which I did not know where it was coming from. Anything slight, small would just push me off for quite some time, especially when I joined school, you know. And I was becoming too sensitive. When I would be seated the other side, but I would hear what you're saying. I don't know how,
because
but
your mind is like, are they talking about me?
Exactly. I would just hear what you're saying, and then I'm like, why are you talking about me? So I realized I was becoming too aggressive, then I told my mind, no, Rita, that's not the life you're going to grow into, anger and all that. So I needed to tame that. Then by then now I was at school. You know, school life, you have these lower classes. Of course, everyone is going to call you. Of course, there are kids that would call you names and all that. But I had to swallow all that, and I'm like, no, you're just going through this. All that would push me further, and I'm like, I need to be something.
Push yourself.
I need to be something and be somewhere. But it wasn't easy. It took me quite long until I think being free and being like, we are seated and free. I think, thank God, I met badminton players of that category.
So you mean even the little time I came to know you, you were still going through this process and
trust me,
and struggling with some of these things. Okay.
I think
so now you go to secondary
like
school.
Years.
Yes, the younger kids. You know, society in itself has set these standards. For example, things like body shaming and things of that nature. So you go through this. You probably learn to keep calm and learn that hey, these are just
life.
I'm just different now, so people are being funny. So when you finish school, how do you then deal with moving on further? Because then the world gets tougher, you know, out of that school cocoon and you're going to university.
I thank God for the attitude as well he gave me, because when I was at campus, the campus people gave me actually also an atmosphere that was kind of cool. Those that understood me, I think, gave me a go-ahead. Like, the community was not as abusive as we would think. So they made me feel, you know, part of the society. Like, I would be part of the activities, Must Peer project. You know, we had a project called, it was the biggest project on campus, Must Peer project, or Must, something like that. So I would be part of those activities. You go out, preach the, you know, sexuality and all that. So you would meet different people, but still, that was the minor bit of it. But the basic thing was, how do I handle myself in society, if I am to live with society, if I'm going to work with society, and live with what I am right now. But by then, even at campus, I don't think they had ever seen my hand. Like, I was always in long sleeved.
So you found a way around not being seen a certain way?
Yeah, I would make sure I am in a long sleeved shirt. Not at any point, even when I'm just moving out of my room, I would make sure I put on a jacket. That is how bad I felt in me. That is the biggest thing that took me time to change of how do people see me and perceive me. It was real tough. So because I remember even when I used to bring you pancakes, guys, I don't remember. I don't think you ever saw me in a short-sleeved thing. Or
no, you never did.
That's why most of when I came back, someone said they had never thought I had a disability, because I was always in a sweater or a long-sleeved shirt or something, because I felt like not everyone is going to accept me.
Who you are,
however, I have to survive. And though I also never took my disability as something too vulnerable, because I realized if I am to get what I need, then I have to go out there and look for it.
Push yourself.
Yeah.
So did you ever think, I'm not going to finish school with this kind of attitude, with what I am going through? Or maybe opportunities, this is it, this is gone. Because people get discouraged.
No, actually, I think not finishing school had never hit my mind. Because I knew without school, I'm not going to do anything in this world.
Okay.
Because I knew not having any papers, at least I should finish. The grades may not be good, but at least I have finished, and I have a basis on which I will say, here are my papers. If it needs explaining, I will explain.
Yeah.
But at least I needed to finish those steps, because they are the only steps that will put me where I want to be. Because I grew up watching Ballet Francis, you know, I always admired.
Yes.
At a point, I actually thought maybe out. You know, I loved TV presenters. So Though I also grew up wanting to be an air hostess, so all that
Yes.
had black.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I wanted to be an air hostess. I wanted to be a TV presenter. I wanted to be a dancer. You know, I would see
You had
girls.
dreams.
Yeah, I
like,
would see girls dancing on TV, and I'm like, I want to be like that. Then they would watch sports and they're like, no, now there's Serena. The vigor, the energy she has on court and all that. I did not really interpret a lot in those years, but I loved them. And I think I would do, every time I would say, I want to be that thing. Yeah. So I remember there's a time in my vacation, my mom asked me, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a musician. For even a second, my mother was like, Rita, can you even sing? but because, now why she asked me that? Because in my vacation, I had joined dancing groups. No, my mom didn't know that. But I had dancing groups. I joined Enrico Kabanda, had a studio at Bukede. So I would spend my time in the studio. I'd learned how to do that music recording and all that. You know, those are reasons why I love being around boys and men.
Yes.
They have those things that engage you into things, not of let's go and look for who buys us chips. That's the side my mom never understood me from. I think being a mother and a mother to a girl, like she just didn't understand.
She's overly protective. No, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No,
anyway.
my comfort was being with the boys, because the boys will bring you to challenge your mind, you know? Because how would I even ever have gotten to know how they record music or how they do the... So because I was part of those people, I thought I would sing. But nature, generally, I never sing. I can't sing. I can't actually sing, but I can dance.
Okay.
That one, that one, and I know I can dance. So schooling was my #1 priority. Finish it. However, whether the grades are bad or not, but make sure you have your papers to push you, because man, without papers, you're doomed. Anywhere.
That is true.
At least you have a basic something. At least you have somewhere to tell I finished school. However, I don't have a job, but I finished school, and someone will maybe find something to give you. Something like that.
So you go to university, you're engaging yourself in all of these things. How was the life thereafter? When you say now, I'm doing my course after this is my plan. At that time, did you know what exactly you wanted?
At campus?
Yes.
No. I still wanted to finish and find a job.
And find it. Like most of us, really.
Yeah,
yes.
The truth is, you see with Uganda, it is funny, like your passion, because now remember, personally, if I had an opportunity, like since childhood, I think I would have grown my spirit into sports or music section, that entertainment world. But because I remember even when I was joining secondary, I put Namasagari
as your number one in school.
My mom told my uncle, I will never sing any of my children go to Namasagari. She stopped it. Though she didn't say it to me, but I overheard her. And then she was saying my uncle to find me a school. That's when they found out Christ the King. But you know, that was the life I wanted, you know. In me, I always felt like there are things I want.
What did you do at campus?
A degree in development studies. So I finished it, and I don't think I've been in a field where I applied development.
It does happen sometimes.
But I am also happy because development studies was a wide
broad
thing.
Yeah.
With us in Imbara University, by then we did not have a specification of Sumanyanga. I am doing specifically human resource, or I'm doing specifically, you know, no. It was all these things, the course units we had are courses at Makerere.
Yeah.
Which with us we had them as course units. So in me, I can work anywhere.
Yeah, that is true.
And when I finished, I joined Bio-Waste Management. I did marketing for 5 months. After the 5 months had elapsed, we graduated. I joined the Warid sales and marketing. But in sales, I did SIM card. My mom never wanted she has never liked anything I did. So
no, she had dreams for you.
Yeah, she had dreams, yes. But I mean, you see, that is the funny thing with God. You plan.
Yes.
But he has a line he's getting you to,
yes.
And you do not know. And I am grateful. She had her plans, and she did everything. Personally, I wasn't sure where I'm heading.
Yeah.
But you know, you can feel like you're being limited.
Yes.
Because now, ever since I finished development studies, I have
You're
not
into
applied.
marketing, what?
I'm into marketing. Then I did swim swap forwarding, you know, those SIM card replacement and all that for 3 years. And I'm like, okay, this is even IT. I've never even gone for IT classes. So after IT, I think that's when they closed, and then I joined my pancake world. I'm like,
Oh, they're very good pancakes. Very good.
I'm like, I'm not gonna sit home and because I never want to find myself begging. The best I can do is I'm like, Rowan, can you help me with 10K today? But then tomorrow, it may be so hard for me to do. And frankly speaking, I don't know if my mom, I don't think if she was truly frank, like her name, that is her name actually. I don't know if she remembers me saying I need money for something, because I always find myself doing something that can bring me. Yes, in that life she doesn't like. I always find myself satisfying myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start making the pancakes
Yeah.
from your savings and things like that. You're like, let me do this. Was this something that you easily adapted to as well? Because I think something like that needs, you go to people now.
At the pancake story is the most funny story in my life. Personally, I can't even understand. I used to love pancakes since childhood, and I've eaten pancakes, but I did not know how they are made to the extent that they are consumed. The very first time I go to the shop and I'm like, can I have a kilo of millet flour? Because I thought being brown, they're using millet flour.
That is interesting.
You know?
I don't think you're alone though. Eh?
Oh my God, this is a business I'm going to start. No one knows, but that was my idea. I was seated home and I'm like, but why don't I start this? So the gentleman asked me because he knew my mom. It's like, Mommy just took flour, and what are you going to do the flour? Use the flour for? I'm like, I'm going to do pancakes. Like, huh? Pancakes? But then, kabaragrate bam 6 bulo is a Muganda. I'm like, no, but you see there, you know, when you open a pancake, there's those brown
inside,
yeah, and it's brown out, and then there are those brown crystals inside. So me, in my heart, I was like, it's millet flour and probably water and maybe sugar or something. Good enough, the guy makes pancakes, so he took me through the class of like 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, cool, we are good to go. So I buy bananas. Still in bananas, I thought they put banana peelings. Because remember, they have those rough things inside. Normally they are like threads or something. And then when I was young, Mom used to buy us pancakes that had banana leaves inside. And like, I think the things that
what they used to mix. Or
what do they call empumumpu? That thing of a banana that grows, the shooting, the flower.
I don't know.
That ends at the end of the banana, but it's a fruit.
The purple one.
That purple fruit. They normally put them in pancakes. So me, I thought they are peelings of bananas. So the very first product of pancakes was messy. So I make them, everything together, like everything. Then my mom comes in the evening and is like, what's this? Like pancakes. Like, you put the peelings too. So I'm like, okay. So the peelings are not part of it.
Yeah. He said, you know what? I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to go
I did not
for
tell her I didn't know. Well, there is one thing in my head. I never say I don't know. I don't remember ever saying I don't know. I'll keep quiet, go back and do another venture on my own. Like, do another venture to make sure I do the right thing.
Yes.
So the next day, I go back to the gentleman and I ask him exactly what. And then he tells me. That day I made clean pancakes, brown. My first customer was my mom, my neighbors. She bought, but it was I started with, I think, around 15K. 15,000. It's like, I bought sigiri, then oil, then a few things. Then later, I went on expanding. That's how I started pancakes. Eventually, I make it a commercial thing because I needed money. I had no job and I didn't want to beg and I wanted to see myself okay. The truth is, the first thing I always think is, if I am okay, then my neighbors are okay, because no, I'm not going to bother anyone. So not that I am doing pancakes because I want to maybe to give someone fees. No, God has really put me aside of that thing. Like My mom has struggled with her life and these children, but she never asks any one of us like she needs help or something. Like though as children we also feel we need to help, but
yeah.
if you don't have, then don't stress. That's in me. If I don't have, I don't pretend to have and make you feel I have, and then eventually you will think I stopped giving you and caring. Yes. So I want you to know me for who I am and take me for where I am. If it angers you, it is okay, you can tell me, because I also, when I'm angry, I will tell you, Rowena, no, I don't like that.
So you do Pancakes for how long now?
For 3 years.
For 3 years.
2015 to 2018.
Okay, so within that time, what happens that triggers you and says, maybe I need to try something? Because along that line, something changes, right?
Within that time, I'm renting. Within that time, I am my personal boss. Within that time, I am everything anyone would want to be, though I don't see myself succeeding to the level I want. I never, like, you keep trying so hard, and because when I was in Worried, I thought, now this is it. I had given myself a plan. After 2 years, buy a plot of land. Maybe after like 3 years or 4, start constructing, because I always want to, see myself.
Improve yourself.
Yeah, improve. Seeing yourself in an improved manner. Oh my God, all of a sudden Worried closes, and then you're on your jobs, and then the saving you had, you started eating them. I had bought my cows and given them to my grandma. My mom didn't know that. And then all of a sudden, yeah, my mom is never in my plans. The truth is, she has never been in my plans. She always gets to learn.
Because she has plans for you and you're like, no, those are not my plans. I need my own
No,
plans.
maybe it is not me. It is her against God, and then because personally, I don't know where I'm heading.
It's the two people both wishing you well, but you take your turns. Okay.
Yeah. So I because I needed to do the renting and all that. But in the time, almost in the 3rd year of my doing Pancakes, with all those problems I'd gone through, I'd started having these fatigue, stress issues, because I would wake up at 2 and sleep at almost 11:30 or midnight, and then wake up at 2. Because sometimes you'd take, after you guys taking breakfast, I had evening sessions of Rotarians and Rotaractors, and then somehow in the middle of the day I would go to Owino, those line shops around. Actually, there are shops I used to sell around there. They would take, so I would spend the whole day moving around selling those pancakes. So at a point, I think I developed a problem with my back, and then the hips, and then because of carrying heavy bag and all that.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Yeah, I also, at a point, I suffered from, is it piles and all that? And when they inquired, they told me it was too much luggage you carry, and all that, or maybe you're stressing yourself so much. I was like, okay, what do I do? I thought, at God, I think, okay, you need to change my job, my line of job. I need to have a relaxed, though income earning job. So when you guys were in your revamp, UBC, then that is the time we could no longer access UBC. Though I wasn't only supplying to UBC, I was supplying to BOU. My mom had gotten me an access to BOU because she works with it. And then I got access to Bukede because I had Henry Kabanda, I had the brother Herbert Kabanda, so they helped me access Bukede, and they became a family too. So I would leave you guys, go to Bukede. I would feel comfortable anywhere I am. Yes. And then I also had to get access with the Ministry of Gender. I got access with Ministry of Gender, so I would also supply them. And then there's that law firm up there, GMG, KMG, something like that. It's above the Bank of Uganda. I would also supply them. So those were the official partners, customers. And then the rest would be the Rotarians, those who make orders, what. So the business had really grown.
I'll keep saying that. So, of course, what we're going to definitely do is get more and more of this story. We're definitely going to come back and listen to Ritah Asiimwe's story. Very touching story, very, very encouraging story. But of course, just a reminder, we are at Daughter's exclusive here on Ginger Road Spear House. It's a furniture house. It's a beautiful place. You can always try it out. And of course, we'll be right back with you on Super Soul Sisters to get more of Ritah's conversation.